Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 4.
The case of a woman accused of harassing two students on a school bus heads to court. We talked to a mother of one of those students who says the former bus monitor should be facing more serious charges.
It's another cold and a chilly day across central and eastern Kentucky, and believe it or not, I've got a lot more rain to go through over the next few days.
Also, one day after the decision not to charge a New York City police officer who choked a man to death, see how that decision is sparking protests across the country. Welcome to WKYT News at 4. I'm Jennifer Palumbo. A cold rain is falling across Kentucky this afternoon, and it could be here a while. Temperatures are in the 30s this afternoon. WKYT Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is tracking the rain on First Alert Defender. Chris?
Yeah, outside of a little break here or there, Jennifer, over the past couple of days, it's basically been just an absolutely terrible week of weather here across Kentucky, and it rolls on into your evening. The definition of dreary is what you're seeing on our live sky cam as of now. Looking out across Hamburg Pavilion, and we're noticing the heavy rain, the low clouds, the fog, and those temperatures, as you mentioned, that are stuck in the mid and upper 30s yet again today. Visibility is down to 4 miles. It was a day that started out with a touch of some sleet and some freezing rain into parts of areas north of Interstate 64, and I'm still tracking a little bit of sleet into northeastern Kentucky. Rain's becoming a little more scattered on Live First Alert Defender the farther south and southwest that we go, but where we see the brighter colors here, that's where Defender is telling us, yeah, we're getting in on a pocket of sleet here or there. In the parts of central Kentucky, that's the cold rain that we're dealing with. It becomes much more scattered the farther south and southwest that we go. So a little bit, I can't call it a drying trend. How about a little bit of a break trying to develop into parts of western Kentucky for later tonight? The main low, though, is still well to our west and southwest. That is going to work its way on toward the northeast, so heavy rain pipeline is setting up over the next couple of days. When I come back in about 10 minutes, Jennifer, we're going to track the heavy rain threat and a wild temperature ride just over the next few days.
We're tracking a developing story right now in Lexington. 3 firefighters have suffered burns while fighting a fire this afternoon. The fire broke out around 1:30 at a home on Delmont Drive. Crews have since knocked the fire down. We'll have a live report from the scene, including the latest on how those firefighters are doing, coming up on WKYT News at 5. It's the first court hearing in the case of a former school bus monitor accused of harassing 2 students. Investigators say in October, Melinda Owens pushed one student's face into a seat on an Anderson County bus and destroyed another student's schoolwork. Today, the mother of one of those students talked to WKYT's Mark Barber after the hearing. That's our top story at 4.
The mother of a student who was on the bus says the students may have been acting out. But even then, she says this never should have happened.
I have 5 myself. They get to me, but I don't put my hands on them like that, you know, and I don't think that nobody should. And so that's what upsets me the most.
41-year-old Melinda Owens didn't show up at her arraignment in Anderson County this morning. Her attorney entered a not guilty plea for her. She's accused of pushing a 12-year-old's face into a bus seat and ripping up another student's homework assignment. Summer Gray says it happened when her 12-year-old son Jared was riding a bus with Owens back in October. According to Grace, after Owens destroyed her son's homework, she screamed obscenities in his face. Gray says when his friend got involved, Owens pushed his face into a seat. Investigators tell us there was a camera on the bus, but they are not releasing the video. The school superintendent says a week after the alleged incident happened, Owens resigned. The former bus monitor is charged with harassment and menacing. Grace believes Owens should be facing more serious charges.
If you put your hands on a child, that's assault. If you put your hands on anybody, that's assault. And she assaulted children.
Owens is scheduled to appear in court on January 29th. That's when her attorney says the court will hear pretrial motions, schedule a trial date, or settle the case. In Anderson County, Mark Barber, WKYT.
The superintendent says Owens had worked as a bus monitor for the school district for a year before she resigned. One of 2 inmates who escaped from Lexington's Blackburn Correctional Complex on Saturday is back in jail. Kentucky State Police say Joshua Stevenson was caught around 8 last night in Hamilton, Ohio. We're told the second inmate, Michael Fleet, is still on the run and may also be in Hamilton. We're working on a number of other stories for WKYT starting at 4:30. Amber Philpott joins us from the newsroom with a look at some of the news in progress. Good afternoon, Amber.
Good afternoon to you, Jennifer. A crime alert in Lexington today following a gas station break-in. It happened early this morning at the Exxon on Versailles Road. Surveillance video shows a man breaking the glass window. He and another man return half an hour later and steal 75 cartons of cigarettes. 2 other Lexington businesses have been broken into this way in the last few days. We'll tell you if police think the crimes are connected on WKYT News at 4:30. Kroger is bringing dozens of new jobs to Lexington. The new state-of-the-art grocery store on Euclid Avenue is scheduled to open in about a month. Kroger will hold a hiring fair this weekend to fill 100 permanent part-time jobs for the store. The event is Saturday from 11 to 4 at the Beaumont Kroger. Today, we were able to get a sneak peek inside the new Euclid Kroger. We'll take you inside on WKYT News at 5. And it has been 2 months since a former UK football player fell 35 feet while watching a game at Commonwealth Stadium. Brad Durham spent nearly 2 weeks at UK Hospital before doing rehabilitation at Cardinal Hill. He sits down to talk to us on WKYT News at 5 and 6. That is a look at just some of the news that's in progress. Jennifer, back to you.
Thanks, Amber. Now to stories making headlines across the nation at 4. Another grand jury decision leads to protests across the country. This time, a New York City panel chose not to indict a police officer accused of choking a man to death. Ryan Nobles has more on how the city is reacting.
Calls for change in New York City.
This is what democracy looks like.
A night of powerful yet peaceful protests across the city after a grand jury decided not to indict a police officer seen in this video placing a chokehold on Eric Gardner. Gardner later died. His mother watched last night's protest and found hope.
It's a major step forward because people are taking notice.
Among those taking notice, people in power.
Big challenges like these should galvanize our country.
Action already taken in New York. Mayor Bill de Blasio said the police department will revamp the way it trains its officers.
There's a new group of leaders here who have a vision for creating a partnership, for creating a reality that instills trust.
Even though the grand jury did not indict Officer Daniel Pantaleo, this is not over. The NYPD is conducting an internal probe, and the federal government has launched a civil rights investigation. Civil rights leaders are calling for a change to the entire system.
Who are committed to forceful change through peaceful and constructive methods.
A change that could come as tension builds across America. In Washington, I'm Ryan Nobles reporting.
Civil rights leaders are planning a summit and march on Washington for early next year to fuel frustration into political action. Police have made an arrest in the murder of an American teacher working in the United Arab Emirates. Police say a veiled woman stabbed 47-year-old Ebola Ryan during a fight inside a restroom at a mall on Monday. Surveillance video shows the cloaked figure before and after the stabbing. Ryan taught kindergarten in the UAE. She leaves behind a husband and 11-year-old twins. Police say the suspect also targeted an American doctor with a homemade bomb. NASA had to scrub its test launch of the spacecraft Orion today. Orion was just moments from blastoff when Mission Control stopped the countdown because of a problem with the spacecraft. Mission managers spent 2.5 hours trying to fix the problem, but decided they needed more time. NASA plans to try the launch again tomorrow morning. More and more people are struggling to pay off their federal student loans. We'll show you how the government is getting its money from those who default. And an alert for coffee lovers next on WKYT News at 4, how much the price is going up on some K-Cups.